Today we're going to talk about an event that takes place between 1754 and 1763 that is sort of a turning point in the history of North America. And what I'd like to do before we get started, before I tell you any more about it, is I'd like to show you two maps. And you know how much I like a good fun map activity. Let's see here. Let me go ahead and two. I'm going to show you these two maps. These are maps of North America. Now, I'm going to assume that most of you are geographically challenged. So let me show you very quickly, before we look at that map, where North America is. And I understand that some of you are looking at me like, you're crazy, Gigliotti, but there might be somebody out there that needs a quick little review of where North America is. So, let me show you very quickly here. All right. This continent here is North America. Okay. Today, we would find three main countries in North America: Canada, the United States, and Mexico. Am I correct? Okay. Now that's in 2007. Did the map of North America always look like it does today? No. So what we're going to do is we're going to get into our time machine, and we are going to go back to the year 1754 and the year 1763. And what I have up here on this slide, you will see a map of what North America looked like in 1754 and a map of what North America looked like in 1763. You all with me so far? Excellent. Okay. We talked about how different countries in Europe came to North and South America and set up colonies. And what these maps show you is where each one of these countries set up their colonies in those 2 years. Okay, like I said, the map is very different today. Do we see the United States, Canada, and Mexico on our map? No. Instead, what we see are a couple of countries that have colonies in North America in 1754. Okay? So what I need you to do, I need somebody to raise their hand. I need somebody to tell me, first of all, where in 1754, or which European countries in 1754 had colonies in North America. Somebody raise their hand and give me one country that had colonies in North America. Give me one. French. The French. Very good. The French colonies were obviously very large. Right? The French controlled all of this area up here in Canada. They controlled the areas around the Great Lakes, the area around the Ohio River, the Mississippi River, all the way down to Louisiana, the Gulf of Mexico. So, New France, which is what they call it, was very, very large. Right? Even though it was very large, there weren't a lot of people that actually lived there. In France, they had a law that said unless you were rich and noble, you were not allowed to move to New France. Well, if I'm rich and I'm noble and I live in France, am I going to want to move to a place like the colonies where there's nothing but trees and bugs and other problems? No way. So really the only Frenchmen that are in the New World, in New France, are what we call fur traders. A fur trader is somebody who traps and catches fuzzy little animals, kills them, and uses their fur to make hats and gloves and coats and all those things. Okay? You can catch a lot of furry little animals in this area of the world. So they ship them back to Europe to make a ton of money. Okay? The French were also very good friends with the Native Americans, which is important for what we're going to talk about today. When we talk about the European countries, most of the time the Spanish, the English, there's a lot of conflict there. The French were actually had very good relations with the Native Americans. Okay, somebody else give me another country that has colonies here in North America in 1750. The Spanish, sure. Look, the Spanish are down here. in Mexico, they're out in the Caribbean, Cuba, Florida is a Spanish colony in 1754. If we extended this map down, you'd see the Spanish all throughout South America. Okay, somebody give me another country that has colonies here in the New World and in North America in 1754. Can you give me one? Somebody hasn't chimed in yet. Who wants that? Go ahead. England! Very good. Obviously, this is the most obvious one. We've been talking about the 13 colonies, right? We've talked about each one of the 13 colonies, what life was like in the 13 colonies, all those things. The English have a very small piece of land compared to the Spanish and the French, am I right? But the English have more people that live there. I know that sounds crazy, but even though the land is much smaller, there are many, many more Englishmen who live there than Frenchmen who live in New France. Ben Franklin, you guys are all doing the web course on Ben Franklin, right? Ben Franklin said that they would get to a point where there would be more Englishmen on this side of the Atlantic than on the other side of the Atlantic. And he was right. By the 1750s, the colonies had been around for about 150 years. So the people that originally came had children, they had children, they had children, they had children, they had children. We're talking about generation after generation after generation. And by the 1750s, the people that lived in the English colonies had never been to England. Do you see what I'm saying? They had been born in the colonies, they lived in the colonies, but they were still English. Spoke English, the English was still controlled. Okay. Some of you also may have noticed on the map up here, Russia claims part of what is now Canada, and of course, up into Alaska. So, if we were going to look at a map of North America in 1754, this is what we would see. Now, the other side of my slide here has the map of North America, only this time, the map is in 1763. The maps are very, very different. What is the major difference between the map of North America in 1754 versus the map of North America in 1763? What is the difference?
There's no French and a lot of English.
Very good. Okay? If we look here in 1754, the French have a huge colony here, New France. If we look here in 1763, the French are out and the English have taken it over. I'm looking for one word. What do these maps tell us about the events that took place between 1754 and 1763 in which the French literally wiped off the map? What's the word? And what's the word I'm looking for? How'd they take it over? There must have been a war. The English and the French fight a war that's known as the 7 Years' War between 1754 and 1763. They fight this war all around the world, including here in North America.